Okay, we got 23 minutes and 30 seconds on this one. So today it was quite interesting. I went to the court. Yeah, it was actually a better experience than I expected. I wanted to buy myself 2 to 3 weeks, which legally I'm entitled to. The judge literally told me, okay, you're smart, and I'm gonna give you 2 months for whatever reason. And I said, okay, I'm gonna fucking take it. And after that, I had this quite interesting interaction with a friend of mine. She recently lost her fiance, and um, yeah, she's 41 years old, kind of psychology expert or whatever. And after, I think, 2 years, she messaged me with this 17 minutes, 40 something seconds voice note. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna play game, and let's listen to her voice note. Um, I thought it would be either from okay, how are you doing stuff, that she would be either saying she's happy that she got married or something, and she was overjoyed, so she had to share it with some people. That's how people function, and you need to share good things with people who would understand the good thing, and bad things with the people who would understand that as well. That's literally like how humans function. And I see it like, if you're watching a video, or let's say Netflix and whatever, and you say you enjoy the show 70% of the enjoyment that you can extract from the show. The other 30% is in the sense of community around the show, the bickering, the theorizing, whatever. So I thought, okay, it's either that, or something happened in Iran, and she's gonna bitch about the problems and whatever. And or she is either yeah, trying to network and get out of Iran, that I told her a couple of years ago, 3 years ago, I think, when I myself was getting prepared to get out of the shithole. And back then, it was actually a respectable shithole. Now it's just a global shithole that everyone knows is a shithole. But yeah, I saw this happening like 10 years ago. And based on my own restrictions, it took me longer than 10 years ago to leave. But yeah. Um, so I was in the game, and I was actually talking to other people in the game, because I'm just curious about how people view the world and whatever. Met this chill guy who was 30 something years old in the game, and we were chilling, we were gaming, and we were killing the boss. And I was listening to her voice note on 2x kind of speed. And it was like half crying, half cursing. But what actually captured my ear was that she started doing poetry, like actually trying to put together a verse together. And I was like, okay, this is interesting. And she said this before, like starting the poetry kind of mumbo jumbo of the whole thing. She started saying, "Oh, they killed my fiance," and I was like, "Oh, what the fuck I tell to her now?" after 2 years of any kind of connections, she chose my name on her phone to send a 17 minutes voice note. And knowing her, she would then send this to everyone, like to 5 people, to get a reaction. And I wanted to call her directly, but I said, okay, with the run situation and the network situation, the call is not gonna even get there. So I sent, I sent like the protocol. Are you okay? I hate this, but this is what people expect. So, are you okay? What can I do? Which basically is kind of washing myself off of the situation and transitioning into out of that situation. And I was thinking about, and she, of course, as the whole script goes, and she was like, "Oh yeah, I'm okay. I just don't know what I sent you. Sorry." And she started apologizing, whatever. So I understand she's in pain. I understand she is not finding the adequate words to express that pain, and that's why so many Iranian people these days are becoming writers and poets because they want to kill people because a lot of people in their families and friends have been killed, and you cannot just say, okay, I want to kill people who have killed my family, and if you do, you don't have the actual accessibility to do that. So you need to process the pain in another way rather than fight or flight because you're stuck. You choose the third one, which is inventing a new coping mechanism that in its novelty maybe is gonna work. So what I noticed was that, at least in my case, that has been always the case. That the thing that they call with the geniuses or people ahead of their time, or as one of my friends calls it, 2 to 3 standard deviations ahead of your peers. Yeah, the childhood is not gonna be fun because I remember I was 5 or 8, and I wouldn't understand most of the things other kids did. I found it boring and dumb. And I just started reading books and writing, literally doodling poetry. So I metabolized this kind of, not even pain, but this disconnect between the me and the surroundings, that I couldn't just go and say, okay, what you're doing is dumb. I would understand even at 8 years old that would isolate me further. So I would have many friends, but I wouldn't feel any friendship. And even these days, that's the same thing. I have so many bestsellers, high status people, high people in so many kind of regards, and I don't consider any of them my friends. I have 5 YouTube channels, and one of them has very loyal kind of crowd in it, but they don't know me. They just know, oh, this is the fun guy who makes fun gameplays, and he's very chill. And the only place I feel as if myself is in writing, and this I consider as form of writing as well, because the way these videos are structured, they are for 10 to 20 years later. The thumbnail is not viral. There is no script. It's literally me in front of the video, kind of thinking, in a way that I see, which is another matter of writing, and having the documentary of every single day or days I find interesting to document for my future self, 10 years, 20 years, and when inevitably, with all of the signals and dominoes and whatever, I blow up, I'm gonna force people from the status or whatever who want to be that and that successful, that whatever, if they want, this is the grunt work. If you want to understand me, you need to understand 10 years of actual daily documentation of that mind, because that's how I operate. Even like recently, there was this kind of therapist influencer that by a couple of connections that we made, um, she might have. So I know her sister and her sister's actual husband, and they introduced me to her, and they said she could be a romantic fit for you. And I said, yeah, but I'm not gonna get hitched to another person. I might have a relationship with them and then turn it into a friendship and keep them interesting. If they're interesting enough, keep them around, like so many other people. And they agreed that maybe they are thinking, okay, this is a therapist, she's gonna bewitch me or whatever. And so the discussions we're having is I'm kind of signaling to her without even like trying, based on who the fuck I am, that yeah, most of the things that are being done in the world are not being done efficiently at all. And one of the things was I gave her homework for um, learning a new language. And she said, this is hard. And I said, yes, this is hard. But the proof is that you're going to learn. And now she's been doing it for 2 or 3 days, and she's saying, wow, this actually works. And I say, yes, I said it's gonna work, but you need to put in the work yourself as well. So this is the same thing as well. Like when all of these bestsellers, whatever, and kind of globally known people are putting their names on me, and they're actually surprised. Even today, when I went to the court, the judge was surprised that I was this mature, at least in my argumentation, in my presentation, in actually defending the case and everything, that I was just 26. And I'm surprised by people being surprised, because there are so many prerequisites for this. So going back to the friend that gave me the voice note, sent me the voice note, I could clearly see what's the reason behind it. Okay, she has lost a fiance. She cannot actually compute that with her actual current lexicon, so she is inviting a new vocabulary to her system, and there is this disconnect and incompatibility of two systems. She's used to expression in a very specific way for 40 years, 41 years. Now that is failing her, and that's where the geniuses shine, because the genius, or that word is being like thrown around like confetti these days. Let's say the thinker, or the actual generational mind, sees the same thing everyone else is gonna see, but 10 years, 20 years, 30, 50, 100 years earlier. So when actually the current system fails, the genius is not gonna become genius retroactively. They were a genius, but the society and the majority were late to actually see that system failing. So when I listened to this, I was not only surprised but also understood that yes, in the current situation of Iran, with actually literally no hope for the future, so many people are killing themselves, so many people are depressed, people don't actually understand what life means. And all of this, when they see other because this is the curse of the social media, not only European people are depressed by other European people on their Instagram because they see a life. I literally saw this girl who had a great job, who had great friends, great family, whatever, and she was literally crying her mascara off on live TV, saying, I have nothing because my friend is this kind of OnlyFans, whatever. And now imagine, objectively in Iran, there is no life. Of course, when she loses her fiance, she's gonna lose everything. The vocabulary is not gonna be sufficient enough to actually handle that kind of pressure on the system. And what she does, she invents a new coping mechanism in poetry, in whatever, because the old system has failed her, and now she's discovering or testing a new system. So maybe the new system is gonna save her. But the problem with that is, when I was 8 years old, I discovered this system and I metabolized everything in the writing that actually in 18 years has become systematized way of seeing the world and actually becoming a coherent system based on which I can actually function in personal, professional, and every kind of everyday life. Because this is the system, and this is the thing that these kind of famous people or influential people are calling me these days. Synthetic thinker is not just a confetti to throw around. This is the specific lexicon to recognize a peer, but 20, 30 years old, kind of younger than you when you are 50, 60. Because this maturity comes from two things. One, systematize actual coping mechanism that turns to actually lens through which you see the world, or you just add it as an add-on and you have nothing. So this is why I predict that as long as this bullshit is gonna continue in Iran, and as it is now, which I predict in the 5 to 10 years is still gonna be the same. Sure, the regime is gonna be kind of imploded or exploded from within or without before 2027, because this is not gonna sustain itself. But the aftermath of that is gonna take 5 to 10 years to actually rebuild, specifically with the mental situation of the people trapped in it. So the thing is gonna happen is that we're gonna see more poetry, more sloppy writing, more actual, basically like feeling trapped, and you either want to escape, you can't, and you want to fight, and you don't have the power to do so. It's literally like many billions of times I would have loved to kill 8 billion people. Everyone has that, but yeah, you don't have the power. And even accepting that makes you even more angry. So you need to funnel that. And then there are the times you want to escape, where is the suicide thing comes in. But then you realize, okay, if I'm dead, no one's gonna give a fuck anyways, so why would I kill myself? I either need to convince myself that people, whatever people are gonna say or care about or not care about, is not gonna matter. And sure, whenever you're happy with that, you can kill yourself, easy. But you're not gonna be able to do that because your life is gonna affect others. Even if you don't give a fuck about others, there's a kind of weird thing here going on that everyone wants to have the narrative control of their lives. So if I kill myself, some piece of shit is gonna say, okay, he was depressed, and that person is gonna be objectively beneath me. Why would I give the narrative control to that person? So when these two paths are blocked, you cannot escape your situation and you cannot fight the oppressor or whatever, the system, whatever. You invent a new language in writing, in escaping through whatever voodoo dolls you have, God, karma. Everyone in Iran is literally saying, you killed 40,000 people. You're not gonna have an easy day in the rest of your life. These are all coping mechanisms. God is not gonna allow it. Karma is not gonna allow it. All of these are coping mechanisms because the moment you accept nothing is gonna happen to the oppressor, there is this immense pain that you cannot actually funnel anywhere. At least for me, I found it and I funnel it through art, and this art and this way of thinking actually opens doors to improve my situation. But for people who are new to this kind of pain, that I was literally privy to this privileged language of thinkers and writers, ironically, at 8, is that nothing is gonna happen out of it because this is just gonna perpetuate itself until you force one of the ways. You either fight and lose the fight and you die, or you quit and kill yourself and lose the narrative control. So yeah, to recap today, this was quite interesting. I would love to help her more and stuff, but as I said, based on how I know these situations actually evolve, I I was kind of pissed off that I played the protocol. Oh, how can I help? And she played her part of script as well. No, all is fine. I was just going through the motions or whatever. But yeah, looking forward to tomorrow, see what's gonna happen. Because I'm gonna write and I'm gonna leverage the writing, and I am leveraging the thinking and writing to establish the power to actually have a say in the world rather than writing about it. Yeah, but we're in the era of Iranian writers emerging.